Hello, beautiful pole dancers. I am here with you today to share with you some of my favorite exercises to get a little bit more comfortable in straddle and pancake positions. For these exercises, we will need a foam roller, a block, and option if you have a couple of light weights, 2 pounds, 5 pounds, or 10 pounds. For our first exercise, we are going to go ahead and we are going to grab our block. Now, we don't really need a block for this. I just like the cushiness on my knee. You can also just fold your mat up a few times or place a pillow under the supporting knee, entirely up to you. Now, these exercises I like to do towards the end of my training or practice session when my body is a little bit more warm. So, if you are attempting any of these exercises with cold muscles, do a nice warm up, at least a 10 to 15-minute warm up before you move on to these exercises. We'll begin with our first exercises. I am going to be using a block, but again, you can roll up your mat or place a pillow underneath the supporting knee. Entirely up to you. We're going to come into an all four position, and I'm going to place the block on my left knee and shin, and I can go ahead and curl my toes for a little bit more support. I have my shoulders above my wrists, and I'm going to actively push into the mat, keeping a soft bend through the elbows, just ensuring that my triceps are doing a bit of work here too. Now we're going to take our free leg, for me it is my right leg, and I'm going to bring it directly to the side. So my ankle, knee, and hip are in line. Now all we're going to do is we're going to open and explore our range of motion. You might feel your weight sink a little bit in towards the left arm. That is okay. And we're going to repeat this maybe 4 times on each side. So when we are doing this, we are focusing on the abduction of the hip and we are engaging side glute. And at the same time, we do want to focus on the engagement of our quad and hamstring to keep that nice straight line. You can flex your foot or you can point your foot, whatever you'd like to do. So we're going to lift nice and slow and controlled. And of course, my earphones stopped working. I will talk you through it right here, right now. So as we lift the leg up, we want to move slowly through it so we really feel the activation through the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings. Feel free to repeat on the other side. So when we are moving through things slowly, we are deepening our understanding of our body. We are acknowledging what muscles are supporting us during the movement, which can absolutely be translated to any straddle or pancake shape that we are trying to execute. With all of these exercises that we will be doing today, just be sure that you're taking your time and we're remembering quality over quantity. You don't want to push yourself to the extreme because if you do, then you're never going to want to do these exercises again. So start slow and progress from there. Moving on to our next exercise, we are going to focus on more flexion through the trunk of our body as well as our hips. For this exercise, if you would like, you can absolutely use some light weights. Again, 5 pounds. If you are really strong, 10 pounds is great. This exercise will not only be helpful for the flexion of our core and hips and build that strength, but it will also be great for shoulder stability and building a little bit more strength in those areas as well. Let's begin laying down on our backs. We're going to come to a nice butterfly position. So think of bringing your toes together and knees wider than hip width. So a comfortable external rotation through the hips. Now we're going to press our weights or just our arms up towards the ceiling. Allow for protraction through the shoulders. So we are going to be engaging a bit of serratus anterior here. Now, when you are doing that, take a big exhale and think of pressing your rib cage in towards your mat. Be sure that your shoulders, wrists, and forearms remain in a neutral position. So once we have set up, the next thing we are going to do is we're going to initiate with the flexion in the hips and then the flexion through the core. Again, think of taking a nice big exhale, depressing the rib cage, imagining your rib cage and navel pressing in towards the mat as your knees lift and your quads travel closer to the sides of your body. At this point, we're going to extend our legs, and we really want to think of engaging the hamstrings and quads to maintain a nice active extension here. Once our legs begin to extend, we're going to add in the flexion through the entire trunk. Then we will reverse this, begin to bend the knees, applying flexion from knee to toe, and bringing our shoulders back to meet the ground. So again, with this exercise, feel free to do as many as you can, focusing on quality over quantity. Even if you're just doing 3 or 4, you can always take a rest and see if you can do another set. Me personally, I try to do at least 10 repetitions with about 4 sets. I'll just demo this at another angle. So you can see that I'm protracting through the shoulders. My arms, my wrists are just above my shoulders, pressing up towards the ceiling. Knees are coming into the sides of the body as I fully extend, creating a little resistance through my legs as I do so. And then adding more flexion through the core, maybe even holding for a breath before I come back down. So moving through all of these exercises very slowly is key here. That is going to really benefit you in the end. For our next exercise, we are going to be strengthening our hamstrings and our quad. We will need a foam roller, and if you don't have a foam roller, a towel or cloth to slide on will be just fine. Now for this exercise, feel free to reach for the pole or the wall for a little bit more support. Roll up your mats to cushion your supporting knee a little bit better, and we want to make sure the top of our foot is pressing into the ground behind us. Extend the opposite leg forward, placing your heel to your foam roller or cloth. You can flex or point the foot. Now, as we roll out, make sure you are only rolling or sliding out as far as you're comfortable with. We want to make sure that we are comfortable. There should be no pinching, no pain. Now, as we do this, we want to think about really pressing that leg in towards our foam roller or the floor, really focusing on the hamstrings here. Now, as we pull back, we still want to do the same thing, press into the floor, into the foam roller, engage in quad, hamstring, and now even focusing on the strength of our adductors. You can execute this exercise again, maybe 2 or 3 times. For me, again, I usually try to do about 8 to 10 repetitions and roughly around maybe 2 to 4 sets. Now, if you have more range of motion, feel free to slide a little bit deeper into this, but again, only do what you're comfortable with. You can also amp this exercise up by placing your arms behind your back or on your hips or out to the side. So detaching your hand from the pole or the wall. When you are executing this, we do want to make sure that our hips are squared in whichever direction we're facing. So try your best to take that back hip and press it forward to the direction that you're facing. You can also think of pulling the front hip back. Keep pressing that leg into the foam or into the floor and think of maintaining that activation while pulling it back. Now, this exercise can be done on both legs. We can also execute this in a straddle type of position. So we can start on our shins. We can even separate the knees so they're just a little wider than the width of our hips. So a comfortable rotation, a comfortable amount of abduction to start with. You can think of directing your knees towards the corners of your room or even narrow the shape out slightly if it's more comfortable. We're going to begin by placing one heel again to our foam roller or to the cloth. Now you can also do this with the support of a wall or pole in front of you. When we are executing this exercise here, just make sure we're maintaining the squareness in our hips. So if it helps, you can even place the heels of your palm to your hips and make sure your fingers stay directed towards the front of the room. Now, this exercise here, you are really going to feel those adductors fire up. We want to do the same thing that we were doing before, really pressing the heel, the leg into our foam roller or into the floor slash cloth. I'm going to demonstrate this just at a different angle. This might help. So again, I'm going to set up. Again, my hips are squared towards my front and my leg is not directly out to the side. I still want to angle it towards the corner of the room here. Be sure when executing all of these exercises that you are moving slowly and with much control. Make sure you are only exploring your comfortable range of motion. We are developing strength and mobility here. So you will notice after a few weeks of maybe adding these and incorporating these exercises into your training that your range of motion will begin to increase. But always listen to your body. Don't overdo it. Because if you overdo it and you push yourself to the extreme, your risk of injury will increase and you'll never want to do these exercises again. So use these exercises how you like. Again, think quality over quantity always. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe and I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching. Sending so much love.